All right, so it's 3 p.m. and we are all set to begin with our today's webinar. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, we would like to thank our esteemed speakers for being part of this panel discussion. So welcoming Mr. Vikas Shirodkar, Director at Basil HR Advisory Services, Mr. Vijay Kalra, former Chief of Operation Director at Mahindra Institute of Quality, Ms. Harini Srinivasan, Partner at Semicostal Institute, India, Mr. Setu Shah, Global HCM Product Strategy Director, Oracle. Our esteemed panelists would be sharing their views on this insightful topic, Green HR, promoting environmental responsibility in the workplace. HRAI welcomes you all to the session on connecting the dots. To know more about HRAI and its events, I would request all our participants to visit the link and details posted in the chat window. It would be great to have all the participants' feedback. We will be running a poll before the Q&A session. Request all the participants to give your feedback on the session. I now take the privilege to introduce our moderator for this session, Mr. Setu Shah, Global HCM Product Strategy Director, Oracle. Mr. Setu works in a global product strategy team for Oracle HCM product at Oracle. He has helped many organizations globally on their digital HR transformation journey, ranging from a headcount of 99 to 5 lakh plus, driving better experience, effectiveness, and efficiency. He has worked with premier organizations like KPMG, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and Oracle. In his professional life of over 18 years, he has been engaged in solution architecture, business process reengineering, technology practice leadership, HR transformations, and program management of large initiatives across varied industries, including banking, professional services, hospitality, manufacturing, healthcare, government sector, etc. He is a technologist at heart with a strong passion for human resources and an astute product strategy acumen. You can also follow him on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Without wasting much time, I will now hand over the platform to Mr. Setu. Over to you.
Thanks a lot, Faisal. I think you may want to still share the screen.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. And firstly, a warm welcome to all our attendees for this session, Green HR. We have a star-studded panel today, starting with Mr. Vikas Shirodkar. He comes with an immense experience of over 34 years in the industry. He started his career from HCL Delhi into training and recruitment. Thereafter, worked with Siemens Limited, Atul Products Limited, Johnson & Johnson, General Motors, served as a professor emeritus with MET Institute of Management, and parallelly started Basil HR Advisory Services, a boutique HR consulting firm, and has been teaching and consulting since 2014. He has co-authored 2 books, Foundational Skills for Budding Professionals in September 2015 and Cross-Cultural Competence for Global Success in December 2018. He was awarded a prestigious award, a national recognition at the hands of our late President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam, on innovative HR practices that drive business results. Named in the Hot 40 HR Superstars in Asia by HCA Singapore, named number 11 in India's top 40 power list 2008, Indira Super Achievers Awardee in 2009 and 2012. You can follow him on LinkedIn. The link for the same is shared in the chat window below. Welcome, Mr. Vikas.
Thank you. Look forward.
The next slide, please. Our next esteemed guest is Vikas's dear friend and ex-colleague, Vijay Karlaji. Mr. Vijay has 40 plus years of rich and diverse experience across leading global organizations, diversified cultures, and multiple functions. He is passionate about quality, lean and cost, safety, sustainability, shop floor diversity, and Industry 4.0. Mr. Vijay has leadership involvement in 3 greenfield facilities and a couple of brownfield major upgrades, the last one worth 350 million US dollars investment. He was also a part of leadership team for 14 new auto launches in India. So he's essentially the car man on the port on this session today. He's very passionate about sharing his experiences with millennials and subject matter experts, actively involved with leading educational institutes in India, and also co-chaired India Society of Quality Environment Forum. You can follow him on LinkedIn. Just a fun fact about him: if you plan to engage with him, I think the best topics for you would be current affairs and politics. That's something that he kind of follows and enjoys talking about. Our third esteemed panelist on the call today is Ms. Harini Srinivasan, partner at Semco Style Institute India. Harini is a business transformation evangelist, a design thinker, a neuroscience enthusiast, and a behavioral scientist. Adept in unlocking human potential in organizations, she has 24 years of successful experiments in areas of leveraging people's potential for business agility and excellence. A strong believer in driving one's destiny, she practices resilience as a life skill. Positivity and ability to drive engagement with people helps her be an influencer both to the industry and academia. She has shared her stories through her keynotes and TEDx talks. On a personal front, we all may want to congratulate her and cheer for her as her son's project is selected for a NASA rocket mission just about half an hour back. And she is currently a mother beaming with pride and happiness for her kid. You may follow her on LinkedIn. The link for the same has been shared in the chat window. Welcome, Harini and Vijay ji as well.
Absolute pleasure to be here.
All right. So in recent years, coming to our topic now. So in recent years, the concept of green HR human resources has gained significant attention as organizations seek to align their operations with environment sustainability. In a capitalistic economy like ours, a firm's success most heavily depends on its financial performance or the profit that it generates for shareholders. Strategic planning initiatives and key business decisions are generally carefully designed to maximize profit while reducing the cost and mitigating risk. A general goal of sustainable business strategy is to positively impact not just the business or its products, but also the environment, society, or both while benefiting shareholders. And this is where the concept of triple bottom line comes into picture, or triple P as it's also known as, in terms of where the 3 P stand for profits, people, and planet. However, defining what sustainability means, solidifying it clearly, and attaining some of these goals and formulating a strategy around it to achieve these goals can be a daunting task. And this is where our panelists come into play in terms of sharing their knowledge and their wealth of experience with you all during this session. So my first question to all the panelists one by one would be, what is Green HR and what would you suppose are its main goals? I'll start off with Vikas ji here.
Okay, thank you. Really looking forward to some good deliberations and discussion on this topic. So I was also, when I was, the HRAI people are very smart. they first get you signed up as a speaker and don't tell you the topic initially. The only later on, suddenly the topic comes up and you are told that you are going to talk about green HR. So it was a bit of a conundrum for me really. How to go about it, what to talk about green HR, and how should we make it something which is interesting for all the participants who are here. So first thing I want to say to all the participants is, this is not old wine in a new bottle. Okay, it is really, if you think about it, it is new wine in a new bottle. I think what Green HR talks about are very different concepts, very different ideas, which earlier we were not practicing to the extent that it is being talked about in Green HR today. Okay, not that these are absolutely rocket science or out of the world type of things, and I'll explain as I go along, but fundamentally I would say that this is really new wine in new bottle. To me as an HR person, I think it is about each one of us HR practitioners expanding our role and really doing things which are more sustainable in nature, coming up with policies and practices where we are able to involve and engage all the employees for on the goals of sustainability. If you talk about sustainability, obviously, as we were told by our chairman and facilitator, and I'm sure Vijay will also talk about it. If you talk sustainability, what you are guaranteeing is good business results for the organization. So HR is actually expanding its role. Whatever we were doing, the main content of our job does not change, but the focus and the way you do it will definitely change in Green HR. When you talk about Green HR, if you remember earlier also, we used to have a line under our email: don't print this unless it is absolutely required. To me, when you say that don't print it, it is Green HR. Okay, so Green HR is not some new concept which has just now come about, but it is a concept which has been there earlier. But now we are crystallizing it. We are making a systematic way in which we are looking at it, and we are seeing that all the normal work we do, whether it is learning and development, whether it is recruitment, whether it is all the processes and systems, whether it is HR has always been accused to be a very paper-oriented organization or paper-oriented department. So becoming paperless, when you are talking about all these initiatives together from Green HR. And to me, the challenge and interest is really that you are making an environment-friendly approach to doing the same things which you were doing in the past. You are doing a sustainable approach to see that whatever you were doing in the past continues, but it is done with a look towards the environment, with a look towards what carbon footprint are you creating in the organization, and ensuring that all employees get engaged in seeing to it that we are continuously reducing our carbon footprint and we are doing things in an environment-friendly manner so that sustainability is ensured. So to me, Suketu, this is what is Green HR. And I think that is very, very interesting development which has happened, though one must accept that the concept is not new. As I said, it was, I think, 1956 when first this was talked about, but we'll come to that as we deliberate and discuss. But that is the challenge, that doing the same thing in a very different way so that you are continuously reducing carbon footprint and you are continuously keeping the sustainability goals at the top of your head. To me, that is Green HR.
Thank you, Vikas ji. I really love the point that you made, that it's definitely not a new concept. I think organizations have been thinking about it a lot, but now is the time to kind of percolate it within the organization, and who better to do it than our HR teams, who are kind of responsible and also more or less accountable for people. and people behaviors and people actions. So I think with that thought, I move on to Harini. Harini, your thoughts on what is global HR for you?
Yeah, for me, green HR is actually definitely whatever Vikasji said. It's all about being very mindful when you're doing your usual stuff, your all your HR processes. But I would also take this as an opportunity for HR folks to go one step further and beyond. Uh, why can't HR look beyond just its people management, personnel management responsibilities, and look at what can be your contribution as a catalyst to drive more energy saving practices in your organization? Why do you want to leave it with the teams that are actually in that space? Why can't HR be a catalyst? Because HR has the ability to influence a lot of people. So there can be this can be actually a great opportunity for HR to look at what are the energy saving initiatives that you can do in your organization. Is there a way that you can get involved when you're restructuring your buildings? Is there a way that you can get involved and try and give ideas about using natural light, using natural a lot of natural light in the offices, letting it be ventilated, avoid usage of electricity, and all of that could be initiatives that HR could drive. HR could also look at becoming green in a way by being probably the first department in any organization that actually organizes events with a very conscious call of not using single-use plastic bottles. HR has the opportunity to organize a lot of events, right? We do that. So, we can look at not just in our HR processes, but wherever we are able to influence other functions, other organizations, other industries, I think that's a great opportunity for HR. So, for example, I could tell you that if I were to organize an event in a hotel, in a banquet hall, I would say that our company booking is subject to you providing water for all the participants in glasses and glass bottles. And our booking with you is subject to only that. I think HR is poised in a position to influence not just people within their organizations, but also outside their organizations and all other stakeholders. I think green HR requires a lot of initiative, perseverance, and wanting to make the difference to the planet. And I think green HR is not restricted only to HR, but to go above and beyond.
Thanks a lot, Hari. Absolutely agreed. And I kind of had a callback of a story that you shared with me in terms of plastic bottles. So that's a word of caution for our audience as well. If you all plan to engage and connect with her, please ensure that you all are not carrying a plastic water bottle with you all. All right. But I mean, on a serious note, as you rightly said, it's a responsibility of the entire company and almost all of us to kind of do it. And when we want to walk the talk, it kind of comes in each and every facet, each and every initiative, each and every program that an organization engages into. And with that, I move on to Vijayji. Vijayji, your thoughts on sustainability, Triple P. You have you have been the car man, at least on this platform, have been launched multiple vehicles and have been a part of Mahindra since a fairly long time. So your thoughts on sustainability and its practices?
Thank you, Setu, and thanks HR Association for inviting me on this. This subject is very, very close to me. And to be very frank, 3 to 4 years led in MMM as additional role. I was just reading Abdul Kalam's a book where he said that he was called Bicycleman. First time I have become carman, so thank you for that also. Coming to this, just to put a disclaimer that I've never been a HR guy by function or by title, but I believe that every leader is actually a HR guy, nothing more than that. Because
all your beliefs, thought process, and actions depend on the people around you and with you. So if you have to influence anything, then that's the only way. Okay, it's only through persons. It's not through equipments, facilities, and all those things, which are byproduct of if you have the right persons. Those things will automatically come in the system. For me, I mean, when you take this topic, I will say that such movements are more like mass movements. Till there is awareness, till there is a belief, till really need is felt, these things don't happen. And if we look at history of sustainability, especially 3P in India or something, I think 10 years back or 5 years back, it was more like good to do something. I mean, nice to do thing, and then even leaders, were not caring much for it. But if somebody does better than other, why not? And if at all it was seriousness was there, especially in manufacturing industry, it was basically on energy conservation, because energy, like if I comes to conversion cost or something, if I leave material cost, energy is 70% of cost we have to pay in typical engineering industry and clearly in auto industry. So this was not only something nice to do, but saving energy was something to remain profitable and meaningful. I think what is slowly being understood very clearly is that it's not about making money or value creation, but it is value creation while ensuring we don't do any damage to Mother Earth. Like if I look at quality definitions, productivity definitions, all were more of how do I create more shareholders value. But I think it's shareholders value along with ensuring that we don't do a permanent damage to Mother Earth. And one of the things which is missing clearly in economics is the way we have run the industries, the business, the way CFOs and everybody talk. It's all about efficiency and effectiveness. We say this is input and this is output. And I got so much output by putting this thing. But air, water, things is not seen as a resource. Trees are not seen as a resource which cost you money. Okay. Water doesn't seem like that thing, but these are resources which are non-renewable, this thing, and they should be counted part of that. Okay. So I think role of HR as function, and I will say leaders in this thing, is making more and more people realize what does it mean. I mean, I have a grandson who is 7 years old. Now, with the longevity what we have in life today, if the guy lives next 80 or 90 years, I think all what we are talking will be seen by that guy. Okay. And if we really love our children, if we love our relatives, if we love things, I think best thing we can do is that wherever we can influence these, and especially if we are in corporate functions or the thing where we have a lot of power and a lot of influencing power to do these things, to do that. And for that, the most important thing is that we share with people, make them realize, give them chance to see what all is happening in this around the world, and recognize them, reward them, make a part of KRA, their recognition, even recruitment, everything can be channelized a bit more, okay, to ensure that this is something where we do the best. The fact is that we have already done so much of damage, especially when we talk about climate or something. I think next 5 or 6 or 7 years, if there is no serious reversal or control, it will already be a gone case. So time is not on our side. This is an area which needs immediate action, immediate attention, and more actions than talk. I will leave here, sir.
Thank you, Vijayji. So I couldn't agree more with all three of you all. Be it related to the three Ps. It's and while a lot of the challenges has happened over maybe the last 20-30 years, it's just that while it started, it was not that was not the case. Be it things related to petroleum or to any other kind of hazardous, environmentally challenging items or aspects which were kind of which came into application a while earlier. All of it started with a lot of good at heart. But then, as it said, that good is only good till it turns evil. So it's basically more of a time period or more of an expiry date that is attached to every good before it turns evil. And that's where we, I think, globally have identified what some of these challenges or evils are, and it's just now for all of us to act in terms of how we can make things better from here. And this gets me to the next question for Harini. Harini, how does green HR promote environmental responsibility at workplace?
So, so obviously, green HR, when we very specifically talk about at the workplace in the context of HR, it's all about how do you do your HR stuff, right? So, the way HR processes are defined, HR being a custodian of employee records, we're still sitting with, a lot of the organizations are sitting with the traditional mindset of maintaining everything.
Harini, I think you.
Yeah. So just as Vijayji had also mentioned, one of the ways in which the HR processes can itself contribute to going green in the organization could be HR moving to as paperless as it can. Having said that, and that is a big given, but not just that. Like I said, HR should actually get into practicing going green in a very conscious manner, in a way that put going green as one of its measurable targets for the function, right? So right now all the HR metrics are around how efficient HR is in terms of the outcomes of its processes. But I think one of an interesting metric that could be is how efficient HR is when it comes to environmental outcomes. So if that becomes a measurable metric for HR function, I think everything else will start falling in place bit by bit. But what it has to start with is a very, very conscious mindset for going green when you're doing and when you're looking at the organization from an HR perspective. So, starting from very basic stuff like moving your processes to going green will add on to the benefits that an organization will have in terms of green. But I think it is, like I said earlier, looking at it very, very consciously, no matter what you do, whether it's your HR process or whether it is anything else that you do, whether it's your advisory role to the organization, if you start wearing the hat of being an environmentalist first, and then whatever profession you are, I think that's how HR can pave the way. So HR beginning to go green definitely will go a great way in the organization going green, because a lot of things that HR does has ultimately the people who use it, the end users, are the people in the organization. So it could actually result in a kind of a revolution where the organization itself goes green, and HR could be proud of having been able to initiate and drive all those things. Sure. So that's what I have to say on this. I'll once again go on mute because there's some noise happening around.
No worries. We absolutely understand. You were just out of felicitation and still helping us out and doing this.
And like I always, I keep coming back to the HRAI platform, Faisal, and everyone knows, and HRAI is like family to me. And I think this is the best way for the family to be part of my happiness as well. Yeah, so back to you.
So as you see a mother beaming of happiness, and very rightly put that the HR processes also needs to be green, not just in terms of initiatives, but even in terms of breathing, seeing and visualizing in terms of what they are doing, having some of these measurable aspects to it, focusing more on outcomes and impact rather than just getting the work done would be at a center stage for such initiative. So, Vikas ji, question for you, jumping into one of the key processes of HR recruiting or talent acquisition. So how does green recruitment contribute to environmental responsibility at workplace?
Sure. See, before I go there, I want to just add on to what Harini was basically saying and re-emphasize the fact that, it was way back in 1996 that Wehrmeyer first wrote a book called Greening People. Greening People was the title of the book. So I think that 1996, okay? So that means this subject has been around for a very, very long time. And very, very simple. I feel that as HR, one of the first roles which HR has to play when you talk about green HRM is to ensure that sustainability and environment responsibility becomes a part of every organization's mission statement. Okay, so the very beginning from there, and as HR, we can certainly influence that, and we can talk about how an entire organization accepts and aligns to the sustainable goals through the very mission statement itself. When we do that at the organizational level, for all the processes that we are responsible for, obviously we will need to think of green practices which are very sustainable and easy. For example, you talked about recruitment, talent acquisition. We all know that in talent acquisition, earlier, everybody used to spend a lot of money and time in terms of travel for doing the recruitment, whether it was campus recruitment from the organization side or the employee or the prospective employee being called to come over and sort of be face-to-face interviews which were there. Slowly, we are all moving towards more online, more virtual way in which we are, and in that way, we are certainly reducing the sort of carbon footprint which is there for the organization for learning and development. I think today even induction is being done online, right? For that, you don't need to travel. You don't need to do it in a very different way. You can do it. So I think when you talk about the entire gamut of talent acquisition and onboarding, there are a lot of initiatives which a number of organizations are doing. For example, I work closely with L&T in Hazira, heavy engineering. So they have actually, they send you a link. They tell you to do these courses for onboarding online. There are tests which you have to answer so that they know that you have gone through all the content and you are able to do that. They are still not given up their campus recruitment for trainee engineers, both graduate engineers as well as diploma engineers. They do travel, but I think over a period, they will also realize that I think this also can be made virtual and you can do it in that particular way. Related subject is the entire gamut of learning and development. For learning and development, again, huge amounts of costs were involved for travel, huge amounts of costs were involved for putting people together in a classroom. And today, with the type of technology which is available to you, whether it is not only Zoom, which we are using today, but Microsoft Teams, where you can actually break people into groups, have discussions, get them to come back and report out. So all these initiatives need to be. To me, really, what I would say is that every HR touch point, wherever we are as HR, we are touching the employees, has to be thought through. How do we make it more virtual? How do we make it more live? And I think COVID was the biggest teacher in that, right? I was one of the people who was HR who always thought that working from home, how the hell can it happen? So many people used to come up with requests, and except for some very, very exceptional people, we were not ready to do that. But today it has become a very much an acceptable norm of working. And if you think about it, working from home is reducing a huge amount of carbon footprint for all employees. The travel, the electricity in the office, everything which is related to the keeping an infrastructure. And that way, I think one of the most classic examples I heard was Cabin Care. As soon as COVID and the lockdown happened, they gave up 60,000 square foot office space on Anna Salai in Chennai. They just gave it away. Automatically, then you are already thinking. I know just now there is a big debate going on about work from home or not work from home. But I think that is the way in which it will go. We as HR people need to understand that this is in the best interest of the individual, organization, and also of HR in terms of the entire administration. So all these things, where when you look at it in that way, I think this is all under the bucket of greening HR or greening people, as Wehrmeyer said it in 96.
Thank you, Vikasji, for these insightful suggestions. So, first one that you mentioned was, having percolating the vision of an organization to HR and to all the other departments of the organization. The second one was in terms of campus recruitment and recruiting that could be solved or could be made very simple through technology. And thirdly, in terms of be it onboarding, be it L&D, or be it any other touch point within HR, that can be looked at very, very differently. And we do have a lot of our participants and audience as well who kind of concur with what you have said. So Kamlesh Mehta from our attendees says that extensive use of technology, online HR portals, recruitment processes, etc., can help HR going green. And that also includes a lot of employee self-service and self-managed aspects related to mobility, background checks, and almost all the HR practices as well. Being an ardent technology proponent myself, I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Because I mean, as far as onboarding is concerned or recruitment is concerned, now as we speak, I have known of solutions and organizations that are leveraging or developing solutions related to augmented reality, virtual reality, to make learning and development, onboarding, and the entire recruitment process a lot more intuitive and engaging. And at the same time, there are a lot of other aspects coming up as well, be it related to metaverse or related to artificial intelligence and bots, kind of being able to train and answer queries for people and making it far more intuitive. With this, we come to Vijayji, more from a business side of things. So what are some of the benefits that HR, that an organization and its people would have by adopting some of these sustainability aspects?
Sidhu, I mean, couple of things. One is that whatever is free today may not be free tomorrow. It's already, you are supposed to pay price for many things, like in car industry. I mean, based on your emission levels. No, if you don't achieve a number, then there are huge penalties which have started from this year. So there are many things happening. So best way is that you learn it yourself and fix the things. No? So if I look at direct, but if I look at otherwise, very clearly for a society, for a company, for a country or anything to live, no? There are four things which I think are most essential to look at. First is energy. Overall consumption of energy, productivity of that, and how much it can be green. Okay. Very clearly, these three matrices define a lot, and it has direct relation with your profitability also. Okay. Even for energy security. And if you are not conscious about it, you are losing money and you are becoming more and more difficult. I mean, future is becoming more and more difficult. I mean, today, if Europe and America have decided not to do some of the jobs in their country, which are more environment unfriendly, like castings and forgings and all those things. And today, if we are getting a benefit out of that, it's a very short-lived thing, no? So how do we learn that? And answers are very, very, I mean, they look complex, but they are simple. Most of our energy conservation, whether it is thermal energy to electricity, or I mean, look at your IC engine. Okay, you get just 35% efficiency. You look at your power stations, coal to this or this thing. I mean, they operate at 30, 40, 50% efficiency. Transmission losses, 40%. Okay. So it is not about only, I mean, if you can reduce leakages, you get good answers. If you move towards solar and all those things, solar is 1/4 of cost of the energy for industry you get in western part of India, where you pay 11 and solar you pay 2 rupees 35 paise. So all, I mean, we have to find it. Second most important thing is water. Okay. At the moment, water is not priced very high in India, but for some cities, slowly, but scarcity is there. I remember those days 4 years back in Maharashtra, 5 years back, suddenly whole of Maharashtra was facing the issue of water. And we had operations in here, Puri, Nasik and all those things. We were very worried. Bombay, we were very worried. And I remember one IPL match, it was, there was huge hue and cry that how can you think of IPL matching and greening your this thing? And we knew that one day somebody will say that if we don't have water to drink, what are you talking about doing it else? No. So we moved towards this thing. It costed us a lot. Okay. It was not a simple decision that this is my input and this is this thing like green energy, solar or something. It was negative. But if you see long-term security, okay, your ability to be there in that society, I mean, the society happy with the industry you have there, they have long-term intangible benefits, no? And we went for that, no? Today we are able to run our Igatpuri and Nasik plants 260 days without water. Third is zero waste to landfill. No? We know what is happening to our cities. No? Around the city, see, we have mountains of those garbage. What will happen to that? Okay, why would you allow it to go there? I mean, it was a very tough call, but gradually we started when saw that GM was doing in America something, and we said, why can't we do it? Today, all our 17 plants, we don't allow anything to go out, including plastic. Everything is recycled. Our paint sludge goes to industry for generating energy, cement industry. Okay. Our sludges go to some other sludges go for using in bricks now. Some for road, for some facts. Okay. So you get answers for almost everything. Almost everything. Okay. Then is biodiversity. Okay. I mean, this may not have direct relation with industry. But what is happening, I mean, we all know what happened to China when they decided to get away with birds. No? Okay. So all these insecticides and all those things have this. And then pollution. No? Okay. I mean, how can I run a factory or this thing in an area which is surrounded with people? And this thing, if I am not controlling my pollution, okay, whether it is noise pollution or this thing, they will not allow me to run very long. So some are direct benefits, some are indirect, but all these overweigh the cost you put. And if your society, if your people and this thing, if you admire their company, the indirect benefits and direct benefits are unimaginable. You can't even look at it. You can't even put it on a piece of paper and this thing. So this is not a arithmetics done by a CFO. It's much more than that.
Agreed.
So like, I mean, I'm taking a bit more time, but the 10 commitments which Mahindra has given ESG, now I'm not part of Mahindra, but 3 months back I was there. First is that carbon neutral by 2040.
Yeah.
Okay. Second is carbon pricing for all the business decisions, internal business. So every ton of CO2, we keep $10 on one side. Okay. And say this we will use for financing our success thing. And we have huge money any given time. 50% renewable by 2025, 100% by 2030. Okay. 60% increase in energy productivity by 2026 and 100% by 2030. That if I was using 2 units for making one product, I will use 1 unit. That's the meaning. Okay. Water positive, we are already water positive, and group 2 remain always water positive. So we have check dams, we do whatever we do more rainwater harvesting and using practices where you save water how much then you consume. 100% sites to become, already factories have become, but all our offices, everything to become zero to landfill by 2030. Okay. There will be nobody collecting garbage from our places. Zero. Okay. 5 million trees every year. We used to do 1 million. We are at 1.6 crore now, 5 million trees. And gold standard for all governance and disclosures. Disclosure means all energy, sustainability related disclosures on the screen for public. Okay. Now, if you decide this, many things will follow. So this leads to every function, everybody has a plan. So much on water, so much on this, so much on this. They are tracked, they are part of their KRAs, they are part of PMS. Okay. Again, coming to HR, my feeling is that HR role is not so much about PMS and this thing. It's more about giving opportunity to people, okay, to learn more, to see more, to understand more, okay, and they become more capable and more productive.
Agreed, Vijay. And with this, I come to one of the most important questions in our discussions today, and would appreciate an answer or experience or insight from all of you all, starting with Vijay himself. So I think all of the green HR initiatives and the value that it brings and the objective that it has, that's great. But I'm sure one question in the minds of a lot of our budding HR and experienced HR enthusiasts would be, how do you get budget for it? How do you get the budget approved for it? So I mean, the first response I would like from Vijayji, who has also been a part of a sustainability team at Mahindra and has driven a lot of these initiatives. So if you could share your thoughts around how do you kind of get some of these be it budgets or initiatives approved, or the skills for it as well, because while you may have budget or even an initiative in mind, at times what challenges people is to identify the right skill to come out with different fine-grained proposals as well. So over to you, Vijayji.
Basis, number one, let me talk about the skill. I think this is a subject which is not well taught in universities and colleges and all those things. So we don't have that skill on hand, but there are many practitioners, and the best thing is make people to go and see those companies, these organizations who are doing great. Okay. When they enter, they may have a lot of disbeliefs. When they come out, they will be committed to do a lot more. Okay. Because one of the, when we offer somebody a package for his work, his or her work, I think pride of working in environment, doing some great things and all those things is part of that. It's not only salary. So you touch upon that. No, how do you enhance that? No, and that happens if people do this. Make people do this. Make sustainability personal. Okay, that they understand meaning of it and they take it to their homes as well. We have a scheme where some 100 guys in organization are rewarded every year for ensuring that their energy conservation at home reaches something. So what was your last year bill or last year number of units of energy consumed and paid to this versus this year? And those who have reduced max best 100 gets rewarded. So I'm just saying you get LED, I mean, Government of India promotes this. You have those melas, this thing. So make them understand this. Let the tree plantations be done by them. No, even we have schemes where we say not only you plant tree, next 5 years you nurture it. Okay, till it. So there are many ways of. So that is this thing, and then there are guys who know who are doing it. A lot of things are happening. If we cross learn, we do it. Second is that when it comes to budget and all those things, one was organizations called to look at carbon neutral or something. Carbon pricing, but all organizations will not do. But believe me, 70% of whatever I'm talking, especially, see, we are saying is reduce your leakages. Okay. Reuse your energy, reuse your, recycle your scrap and all those things. Every year, everywhere. Okay. Something which is waste for you is useful for somebody. The guy is ready to pay price for it. So I will say 75 to 80% of these things are very, very cost effective. Okay, LED. Okay, the consumption is 1/4 of your CFL bulb, 1/10 of the earlier bulbs. AC, if you have a 5-star AC, the new ones versus those 6 years old, your payback is 1.8 years. Okay, because consumption is down by 25%. You don't have to do maintenance where you have to pay this thing. Your old motors, everything runs on motors in factories and everywhere. Okay, 70% this. If you have the motor which is almost 10 years old, I'm taking that generation this thing versus today. Okay, you are 25 to 30% less efficient. Every time it will go for rewiring. Okay, 1% it becomes inefficient than what it was. So all these things make money. Okay, your solar power cost is 2.5 rupees to 3 rupees. Your normal power is 10 rupees, 10, 11 rupees. Okay, you avoid gensets by putting battery storage system, and gensets are 2.5 times costlier than this, including their running cost, not only diesel, but later support and maintenance and capital cost. So most of these things, okay, I bet, okay, are really fun. I can say that by spending close to 70 crores, cumulative saving of 250 crores in 5 years.
That's huge.
That's it. So this is all a myth because people don't get into it. You see from distance and say this will cost me money. Okay. And then other things, no, you will not be allowed to do business in the cities, sitting in between city and creating a huge problem for environment. No, I'm in Delhi. I was in Mumbai, Faridabad. We had power station. We had to close down. No, okay, because one sector was getting pollution because of that, and people were crying. Okay, so these are many things which are going to affect you. Okay, emissions. BS6 car versus BS2. Okay, 10 cars to 1. What 10, I mean, what one car was giving you emission is not even 10 cars give you.
Okay.
So there are answers, there are this thing, and you can't escape it. It's a matter of time.
Point taken. Point taken. So make it personal. Create a purpose out of it to attach it to individuals. Drive it from the organization's vision, and even while attaining your sustainability goals, make it profitable. Thanks a lot for that. And you also answered the second part of my question with respect to skills, where you did mention that you need to kind of have the right set of people. be it within or from outside the organization, to kind of help you build those profitable business proposals. Point taken. Thank you. I'll quickly, in the interest of time, I mean, just 1 minute each, Harini and Vikas ji, if you could just help me and our audience with the first part of my question in terms of how have y'all managed to get or garner budget for these kind of these be institutionalized in a company vision or roadmap.
Setu, if I may
I'll
go
start
first,
with Vikas.
I think we are already at 15:56. Okay, so let's keep a consciousness of time. You already overshot. But
Yeah.
fundamentally, I feel that if we are very much focused on making this as a part of the mission of the organization, which was one of the points I made, that sustainability as a mission is incorporated. And then there are so many initiatives. I don't think there is a problem about budget, because you have to show the cost benefit analysis. And how can
Got
you
it.
show? There are so many initiatives: waste disposal, energy, we talked about, water, we talked about. Yeah, there are even office car pools. Every which way you can actually translate it into numbers and show that there is a increased efficiency, reduced cost, which pays for itself. So I don't think that it's and involving engaging all the employees. That is the beauty of this initiative, right? That will pay for itself, in my opinion.
Point taken. Cost benefit analysis. That's it. A few quick words from Harini, you.
Yeah. So for me, the mantra is very simple. It's kind of summarizing what Vijayji and Vikas are also saying. Start small, celebrate small wins, align individual purpose to organizational purpose. Make that as one of your criteria when you're selecting people, right? People who are conscious about the environment. And when you start making small, start small and you look at small wins, it becomes a good foundation for you to build a strong business case. Once a strong business case is built, then getting a budget becomes rather easy. So I think it's all about first starting with the mindset. Do we really want to make a change to the planet where we are? Do we really feel that there is something for us to give it back to the planet? And it's super important that one is authentic in it. So I cannot be doing, environment saving initiatives at the workplace, and personally, I'm not doing it. It doesn't work that way. So it's very important for people to bring in a lot of authenticity as well, and be open and talk about it. Do not fear about judgment, right? Be open and talk about it. If it really means something, I think it's super important to be conscious and to talk about it as well. So I just added on to a few more points, but I saw a lot of merit in what Vijayji and Vikasji were saying. So that was a quick summary from my side.
Absolutely,
Setu, I
Arvind.
would like to give an example of, Suzlon. Suzlon made the first green building. Did Tulsi Tanti think about the sort of budget at that point of time? He was putting a stake in the ground, right? He was showing everybody what is the direction which we need to go, and for that we need to stretch.
And it starts with the belief, with that firm belief.
There are enough and more examples, whether it is ITC or it is HCL, many organizations which have done it. So I think it's not a question of budget, it's a question of commitment and sincerity to the purpose.
Yes, absolutely agreed. So I think beyond what Vijayji and Vikasji said, having a mindset, rewarding those and celebrating the initiatives is something that I gather from Harini as well. I think with that, we are slightly over time, and Faisal, over to you for the poll. And there may be a one-off question in our chat by our audiences as well. So we'll kind of look at it at the end if we have time for it. But Faisal, over to you for a quick poll.
Yeah, so before we move to the Q&A round, we will be running a poll to have the participants' valuable feedback on this session.
In the meantime, guys, if you all have any questions, please feel free to post it on the chat. And we'll try to address it during the call, or I think later on. You have heard a lot from our esteemed panelists. Please feel free to reach out to them on LinkedIn, on chat, or otherwise, and have interesting discussions as well.
Ritu, we can go ahead with the question.
Okay, all right, thanks. So while it has been an incredible learning experience for me and for all of us on the panel and on in our audience pool, a quick question from Shiva T is how can HR departments integrate environmental sustainability into their overall HR strategy and practices? A quick word on this one by Harini.
Can you just quickly repeat the question?
I'll repeat the question. How can
Yeah,
HR departments integrate environmental sustainability into their overall HR strategy and practices? If you could give a couple of
Yeah, I
examples,
think we spoke about it. We spoke about it multiple times in the course of this conversation. One of the metrics for effectiveness of the HR function should be an environmental metric, whichever way you want. If you're able to, earlier we used to say, cost cutting, and then we moved on to saying not cost cutting, but cost efficiency. We will look at HR processes being cost efficient or cost effective. So I think now it's time for HR processes to see that are we carbon efficient as well. So I think putting that as a metric is the simplest way. Build that into your HR strategy by making it measurable, and keep it as one of your prime values, which is not just on the wall, but values which are actually being on the ground.
Sounds great. So define metric, drive cost or carbon efficiency, and track it and celebrate it. I hope that answers your question, Shiva. The next question is from, he thanks you for it as well, Harini. The next question is from Nisha. What strategies can HR use to educate and raise awareness among employees about the importance of environmental sustainability? So that goes to Vikasji, if you could help out on this question, please.
Sure. Thank you. Nisha, what I personally feel is that if this is a part of your organizational mission, the whole sustainability game is about engaging and involving employees. In fact, one of the things which was said earlier was that by going virtual, are we losing personal touch? No. In fact, I think by these sort of initiatives, you can create committees within the organization. Employees feel more engaged, give them that as a challenge, talk to them and try to find out which are the initiatives. And simple things, it's not rocket science. It's right beginning from, rather than having plastic water cups and plastic cups for tea, bring your own mug. Bring your own mug to work and wash it. Simple things. All these can be ideas which employees themselves can come up with if you engage them positively, communicating them, showing that it is important because we are trying to drive organizational efficiency, we are trying to drive down costs. For that, what are the things? And people will themselves come up with suggestions. And I think HR will actually have to just play a traffic constable role. You don't need to do a lot of things to try to put it into your strategy. People will suggest games and ideas to you. And so just engage them, get their energy flowing, and many initiatives can come forward, which many organizations have already done, right? We can learn from them.
Thanks a lot, Vikasji. I hope that answers your question, Nisha, in terms of collaborating with people, getting the right set of ideas, qualifying them, and kind of channelizing energy in the right direction in order to make it happen. there is a vote of thanks from Venkat as well for Vikas, Sir, Karla ji, and Harini and Faisal. I think with that we are done with the set of questions that we had. I have personally learned a lot, and I'm sure that's a feeling from my fellow panelists as well as the audience. Thanks a lot, HRAI, for conducting this, quite a topical event and a session for all of us. I really appreciate that, and the opportunity to be here and ask questions to our esteemed panelists as well. Thanks a lot, Faisal, and everyone else.
And thanks, Setu, for being a very homely host. Thoroughly enjoyed this conversation, absolutely candid. So we should thank you for it as well.
Thank you. Thank
Pleasure.
you, everybody. All the best.
Thank you, Mr. Setu, for taking us through this session and making it so interactive and exciting. Thank you, Mr. Vikas, Mr. Vijay, and Ms. Harini for sharing your valuable thoughts and insights with us. It has been a privilege having you all for this engrossing session. To all those who wish to learn and grow, you can access the recording of our today's session on our YouTube link shared in the chat window. Before we conclude with today's session, we would also want to thank all our event partners, Geisha, NASSCOM COE, Talgro, TLE, WICCI, and LinkedIn Local India for supporting HRAI's event. To know more about these associations, request you to kindly visit the links provided in the chat window. Do join us for our next session, the 2023 Dialogue Masterclass series, starting from the 26th of June to 30th of June 2023. That's it from our today's webinar. Hope to see you soon. Stay safe, take care, and bye for now. Thank you, Mr. Vijay. Thank you, Mr. Vikas. Thank you, Ms. Harini. Congratulations. Thank you, Setu.